Justin Trudeau's resignation as Prime Minister of Canada comes as the country faces an increasingly complicated relationship with the U.S. How will Trudeau's resignation impact Arizona's relationship with Canada? We asked Glenn Williamson, founder and CEO of the Canada-Arizona Business Council. Glenn Williamson, thank you so much for joining us here on Arizona Horizon. Where are you, by the way?
I'm in Las Vegas at the Consumer Electronics Show with the senior people from Sony.
All right. So congratulations on that. But as a Canadian, are your fellow Canadians saying congratulations that Justin Trudeau has decided to resign? What do you make of that?
I think when you have a government that is stalled, which it has been for as many months as it is, and when your finance minister steps down and your deputy prime minister steps down, there is a tired population looking for change.
You mentioned a stalled, tired population. Seemed like rising discontent over his leadership. What happened? What changed?
I think it went too far left over the years, and I think that the country wants to be more in the center. And we're watching a whole series of different provinces starting to get very nervous about economics versus other things.
Yeah, other things. Let's talk about maybe some of those other things, and that's the election here in the U.S. Trump's election. How much did that lead to this resignation? Because, I mean, Donald Trump is taking credit for it.
He, as much as he would like to make it the 51st state, I think that Canada was already in a position that they were ready to change after 10 years with this prime minister. And I think that Trump's 25% tariff added a little bit of a nudge, and it brought the private sector and the capital markets to bear over a lot of other softer industries.
So the nudge meaning what? I mean, Trudeau would not be able to bargain with Trump? I mean, a tariff's a tariff no matter who's in charge, right?
Well, I think that when you have people that you have discontent with personally that fly down to meet with you and nothing occurs, I think that the Trudeau banner does not carry much with the current president-elect in the United States. And I think the Parliament and the Canadian public are aware of that.
Okay, let's talk about these tariffs again and what that would mean to Canadian businesses here in Arizona, what that would mean to Arizona-Canada trade.
Well, it gets very, very complex because Mexico is involved in this. So therefore, it involves agriculture, where you'll have dual tariffs going back and forth. It involves lumber that build our houses in Arizona that comes from Canada. It involves energy to a lesser degree in Arizona. But the biggest thing for Canada and Arizona, ironically, is not trade. It's foreign direct investment. So that is a huge, huge issue that is not affected directly by a 25% tariff, but the rest of the industries will be touched. Automotive is another one that would be touched. And because Mexico is involved in this under NAFTA, you have a whole issue with Chinese and Mexican steel crossing both sides. Canada is involved in that. You've got a whole bunch of mining. Canadian mining companies are involved in that. So, you know, you take a look at Hudbay, a Canadian mining company down in southern Arizona, a 25% tariff on them is gut-wrenching what could happen.
Okay, what could happen as well, you tell me, retaliatory tariffs. Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. And it's one of those things where the current president-elect, you know, loves to negotiate and start off with 25%. And that may get Canada to the table to get over their 2% on their security and participation with NATO. It may also get them to do things on the border. Do I think Trump is going to go ahead with a 25% tariff? I do not. I think this is going to be a negotiating ploy. I think that in Canada, the only provincial leader that has an issue with this is provincial leader Ford in Ontario, and even he has backed off on retaliatory, because if that does occur, Ted, it will be brutal.
No kidding. The next prime minister, who are we looking at here? Who's the favorite in the race so far?
So the way this goes down, when a prime minister does what Justin just did, he put the parliament into prorogue, which means everything in the parliament for the next 77 days is on hold. Nothing new can be passed. The government runs itself. During that period, another group of people will run for that post that he has. The leadership of the party and the prime minister are synonymous. And we have a couple of people like Carney, who is a former, bank person from Britain and Canada. You've got Christy Freeland that may run. There's probably about 7 or 8. Once the Liberal Party picks somebody in 3 months, then in the spring, there will be an election nationally where the Conservatives will put forward a gentleman by the name of Pierre Poilievre, and that will be the big, that will be the national convention. At this moment in time, it is the Liberal Party is down 25 points. The fact that they're down that far, the odds of them coming back are slim to none.
Wow.
So I think when the election happens in the spring, a Conservative government will come in.
Last question here. The legacy of Justin Trudeau, what do you see?
Justin coming in 10 years ago as the son of an iconic prime minister, he was full of energy and just an amazingly active, competitive individual, which helped the Liberal Party and the Canadian government during a very down period of time. However, that being said, as Shakespeare always said, you go in with full energy, but at the end of things, you usually are relatively depleted, and those characteristics that got you in are usually the things that take you down. And ego is part of that.
Yeah, Glenn Williamson, again, thank you so much for joining us from the Consumer Electronics Show there in Las Vegas with your fancy headphones there and your speaker. Good to have you here, Glenn.
Good to see you, Ted. Thank you very much.